Michael Voss is in Washington this week and joins us here in the studio. Michael, thank you for that report and welcome.
It's good to be back again, Elaine.
Well, how do you see this case playing out? I mean, do you foresee the Cuban Five or even Alan Gross being released? Could they be swapped down the road, or will this situation remain at an indefinite standstill?
The Obama administration is adamant there will be no swap. There is no indication at all that they are talking to the Cubans, even through back channels. And remember, this is election year, so nobody is really expecting any major breakthrough. The Cubans are taking this through the legal system. They've lost the appeal at the Supreme Court, but now they say they've found new evidence that wasn't available at the time. Interestingly, they've hired a top attorney, Martin Garbus, who Time magazine once called legendary and the top trial lawyer in the country. On Alan Gross's side, they seem to be concentrating on the humanitarian issues, the health issues. His wife calling for him to be allowed home to visit his sick mother, talk about his health in jail.
What has been the Jewish community's reaction to Alan Gross's imprisonment? He was supposedly in Cuba doing work for them. Have they defended him publicly at all, and what have they done on his behalf?
You've got different levels here. In Cuba, the Jewish community there said they were not aware of this program that Alan Gross was involved with. They were not aware that he was a subcontractor for a US government program, for a US aid program. And they went to court and they said that in court. However, Jewish community leaders in Cuba are visiting Alan Gross in jail when they can, and are helping him in that way. Now, interestingly, I think, the case of Alan Gross hasn't caught public attention in the United States to the way that, say, those 3 American hikers who were arrested in Iran did. That was headline news from day one right until the day of their release. That is not the case with Alan Gross. Within the Jewish community here, though, it is big news.
Well, you know, the United States and Cuba have a long history of conflict going back to the Kennedy administration back in the 1960s. And it seemed like things were getting a little bit better with President Barack Obama in the White House. Do you think that the situation has the potential to unravel that progress at all, or do you think that tensions will rise even more?
I think it stalled, and I think it stalled before Alan Gross was arrested. President Obama said quite clearly before he took office that he was going to lift the restrictions that President Bush had put in on Cuban Americans coming home to visit their families and on sending money home. And he did that. And he's also made it easier for what is being called people-to-people contacts. You still can't go as a tourist to Cuba, but you can go to visit religious communities or academic exchanges or musicians, for example. But the Obama administration continues to insist that any lifting, for example, of the trade embargo, or taking Cuba off the list of state sponsors of terror, is dependent on improvements in democracy and human rights in Cuba.
Okay. Michael Voss, thank you for that in-depth report.
You're welcome. Thank you, Elaine.